But unfortunately, when I think about my mum, the first thing that comes to mind is always the same one over and over again. Strapped in the car, seatbelt across, with my brother in the car as well, and my mother driving, being chased by 3, 4, 5 mopeds with paparazzi on, and then she was almost unable to drive because of the tears. There was no protection. I didn't want the life. Sharing the grief of my mother's death with the world. For me, the thing I remember the most was the sound of the horses' hooves going along the pavement, along the Mall, the red brick road. By this point, both of us were in shock. It was like I was outside of my body and just walking along, doing what was expected of me, showing 1/10 of the emotion that everybody else was showing.
Charles.
So this was my mum. You never even met her. I was willing to drink, I was willing to take drugs, I was willing to try and do the things that made me feel less like I was feeling. But I slowly became aware that, okay, I wasn't drinking Monday to Friday, but I would probably drink a week's worth in one day on a Friday or a Saturday night. And I would find myself drinking not because I was enjoying it, but because I was trying to mask something.
Did you know at the time you were doing that you were trying to mask something?
No.
No, you didn't.
Completely unaware of it. I was so angry with what happened to her and the fact that there was no justice at all. Nothing came from that. The same people that chased her into the tunnel photographed her dying on the back seat of that car.
When did you start therapy?
4 years ago now.
4 years is kind of recent.
Yeah, but 4 years of therapy for an individual that never thought that they would ever need or do therapy that's a long time. I wasn't in an environment where it was encouraged to talk about it either. That was sort of like squashed.
Okay, so what made you think you needed it?
The past, to heal myself from the past. I think people have seen the photograph of us, squeezing each other's hands as we walked into the Royal Albert Hall in London for a charity event. She was 6 months pregnant at the time. What perhaps people don't understand is earlier that evening, Meghan decided to share with me the suicidal thoughts and the practicalities of how she was going to end her life. The scariest thing for her was her clarity of thought. She hadn't lost it. She wasn't crazy. She wasn't self-medicating, be it through pills or through alcohol. She was absolutely sober. She was completely sane. Yet in the quiet of night, these thoughts woke her up. Within the first 8 days of our relationship being made public, it was when it said Harry's girl, almost straight out of Compton, and that her exotic DNA will be thickening the royal blood. We would get followed, photographed, chased, harassed. The clicking of cameras and the flashes of cameras makes my blood boil. It makes me angry. It takes me back to what happened to my mum and what I experienced when I was a kid. Do I have any regrets? Yeah, my biggest regret is not making more of a stance earlier on in my relationship with my wife and calling out the racism when I did. History was repeating itself. My mother was chased to her death while she was in a relationship with someone that wasn't white. And now look what's happened. You want to talk about history repeating itself? They're not going to stop until she dies. It's incredibly triggering to potentially lose another woman in my life. Like, the list is growing. And it all comes back to the same people, the same business model, the same industry.
With his speaking out, Oprah, he's gotten some criticism. I don't know whether it's for speaking out too much. He asked for privacy, and now people feel like they're seeing him everywhere. What are the critics not understanding about what's going on?
You know, I ask for privacy and I'm talking all the time. So I think being able to have a life that you are not intruded upon by photographers or people flying overhead or invading your life is what every person wants and deserves. That's what people are missing. Privacy doesn't mean silence.
Okay, so we'll just process this like we did last time. We'll cross our arms, go back to that picture, the negative thoughts. I'm helpless, and notice where you feel it in your body, and just notice what comes up.
It started in my teenage years. One of the first times that I left the UK to get away from all of the fallout from my mum's death was to go to Africa. I think I was out there for at least 2 weeks, and it was such a cure. I just felt so free. It was a sense of escapism that I'd never felt before. And to then come back to the UK, knowing what I was going to be confronted with, and knowing what I couldn't get away from was scary.